So we're here today with Sarah Jarvins. Sarah, you're the manager of Method Gym in Woodbridge, Virginia, a very beautiful gym. I've been there, and when I first pulled in, I said, I wish I lived closer because it's a great gym.
Right?
It
It's home
really
away from home.
It really is a great place. I especially also like the book club. That always stuck out to me. I've never been in a gym that had a book club before. So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey and what led you here to be a fitness professional?
Absolutely. So my journey actually started after the birth of my third child. Oddly enough, each child that I had, I would lose weight because I was eating healthier during the pregnancy than I was, in between. I also had quit smoking because I was having children. So after the third child, I was like, maybe there's something a little bit more to this. So I decided to start looking into gyms. I had joined a local gym, had no idea what I was doing, was taking the classes, and I all of a sudden just fell in love with lifting weights. I kept noticing more and more people lifting weights and their amazing legs and their strong shoulders, and then I found out that I was actually pretty strong from my country stock. So one thing led to another, and management actually came to me and said, "You're here enough already. Have you ever thought of getting certified to become a personal trainer?" And I thought, well, there's only one shot at this life. You might as well say yes every once in a while. So I said yes. I contacted AAAI ISMA. I took the course. I got certified immediately, and that's how it all began. I have not stopped since.
Wow. Wow. Started with yourself working out and got certified, and now you're the manager of a gym.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. That it really is. Do you specialize in any special population as working out? Men, women, children, athletes, etc.?
So much like life, every year is a new specialty, right? You never know who's going to come to your plate. I hold a variety of different certifications, and each year it's a variety of different people that enter your life. So it seems more and more these days, as I am a woman of an age, shall we call it, that I tend to have more mature women that are coming into the gym that have never worked out before, have never lifted weights, because they've always been told, oh, don't do that, you'll get big and bulky. And they can relate with me a little bit better. I'm not 22, even though I feel like I'm 27. So I know how to work around the joints a little bit. I
Yeah.
can walk the walk with them, talk the talk with them. And that seems to be my niche right now. But who knows where the future is going to lead?
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, as I get older, it changes for me as well. Although I sometimes tell a story. It was over 20 years ago. Somebody said to me, "You are the guy who works with the older people," and it was. I used to run a program of about 20 different programs for people who were older and had arthritis. And I thought to myself, "Well, I work with everybody, but you're absolutely right."
Yeah.
And I'm with you. These days, again, it still is people who are older and may have some disabilities. So you originally was AAAI ISME your first certification?
It is.
Wow. How long
And
have you
they're
been
the affiliation I've followed through with all these years. I stick with them true and true.
Wow. When did you first get certified with AAAI ISMA?
Oh my goodness. When was that? Let's see. My baby was 18 months at that time. So, well, we'll just leave it at that. We're just not going to go there.
I I got you. And while we're on the subject, how has AAAI ISMA influenced your career and basically,
Exponentially. The thing about AAAI is it's a community base.
yeah,
So they always offer an opportunity, an affordable opportunity for me to continually learn something new every single year, which has really brought a lot to the table with me being able to work with a diverse group of people. And on top of it, it kind of led me into the yoga section as well. I'm also a yoga licensed instructor, and that started through some of the spiritual teachings that I learned with AAAI, until I ended up spending an entire month in Bali getting certified there with my 300 hours. And then I did further education with AAAI, with chair yoga, all different forms of yoga. So specifically with that company, they just offer such a huge variety at such an affordable rate and in such a supportive fashion. It just made sense.
I agree. Some organizations are very expensive, and I sometimes wonder why. But but yeah, no, I agree completely. What's your training philosophy?
My training philosophy: try it once. If it doesn't fit, try it the second time. If that one doesn't fit, try it a third time. Keep on
Yeah,
going 7 times, but
yeah,
never stop.
I agree. A body in motion stays in motion. A body at rest stays at rest. Do you remember your very first client?
I do. I was terrified. Just a kid, brand new certification by about maybe 4 weeks. A little hands on training at a local gym, but you know how it is in the beginning. And a person did not show up, a personal trainer did not show up. So I was asked to step in, and the gentleman had just come gotten a complete go ahead from his doctor after having 2 stents placed into his heart. I learned really quick to ask a lot of questions, to be very cautious and respectful, and it also pushed my education further at that point. So we still keep in touch after all these years.
That's great.
You know?
Wow. Do you have any thoughts for people who are in that boat now and they're like, I'm certified, but I've never trained anyone before? What should I do or not do?
Jump in, don't wait. Sincerely, that was honestly the best thing I could have done, because if I had waited much longer, I don't know if I would have followed down this amazing rabbit hole. I think I would have been too nervous because at that time Jillian Michaels was really big, and I don't look like Jillian Michaels, and I was all these self-doubts tend to invade our minds. But if we're pushed into a situation where we have to act on the knowledge and the basis that we're given, then all of a sudden we truly blossom. So don't wait, just start doing it, and don't be afraid to be like, I'm new at this, I'm not sure about that, let me research it and we will discuss it.
I agree. I agree completely. Yeah. Research. None of us know everything. We all have to research things, from time to time. So you're doing a lot. You're still doing personal training and you're a manager of a gym. How do you balance your work and your own personal wellness? How do you make those two mesh together?
I think I know that word balance. I think I've used it in yoga, maybe. No, so energy creates energy, right? So because I'm a personal trainer, because I'm GM of this location, I also teach classes. I also have 3 almost grown children, almost. They're almost out of the nest, but still working with that. I'm also a wife, and I'm also, everything enthusiastic with life, camping, hiking, biking, surfing, you name it. I love it all. How do you balance? Well, it's never truly a state of balance. Life literally is the motion of a wave. And at sometimes work takes precedence. And at other times, fun takes precedence. So I know even in the heaviest of work weeks, when everything is going on and I'm working 12-hour days, I'm going to eventually get to rest and get to do things to live my life. It just sustains me. So times of high energy or low energy, I just keep moving forward, one foot in front of the other.
It's really good. That's a good way of approaching things. What's the most rewarding thing about being in the fitness industry?
The people. It truly is. I have crossed paths with such a diverse group of individuals and, retained friendships over the year. My third personal training client is actually my best friend, and she still trains with me 4 days a week, you know, and we have literally been together almost 20 years,
Wow.
traveled the world together. I mean, this is what makes up life, is the memories and this bond with other people. And there's no better bond with another person than when you can get really intimate with their wishes, their dreams, and their aspirations on a physical. And then behind it, you see the emotional person. And it's a really cool bond to know that somebody trusts you enough to literally put their health into your hands. And I love that responsibility, and I love what follows after that.
On the flip side, in your opinion, what's the most challenging thing about being a fitness trainer these days?
How much you give. That's where it does become a little bit challenging with that balance that we talked about a little bit ago. Sometimes when people come into the gym, they are ready. It's New Year's. This is the year. 65 pounds is coming off. I've already ordered my cousin's wedding dress, and it's 3 sizes smaller. I've got this. And then what happens after 3 or 4 weeks? It's human nature. Motivation is challenging. And that is why personal trainers have a position in this world, because we help inspire that motivation, keep them going. But
Mm,
I have found throughout my career that sometimes that transference of energy isn't always there. So you have to learn about the individual those first few weeks. And if you know that they're not going to really continue on this path, then sometimes you have to let go.
mm. So firing your client.
There has been times if
Yeah.
they're invading too much of my personal time, if it's just not a good fit, you know, it is called personal training for a reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes two people just aren't meant to work out together, and that's okay. So,
Yeah. That's a big pill to swallow for some personal trainers, I think. And I've been in that shoe in your shoes as well. I have had the same thing happen where they were just draining me emotionally and physically. And we eventually has had to part ways. And it's not bad. I mean, it's not any one person's problem or reason, but you have to be good to yourself. And
yeah,
yeah, I can commiserate with that. I definitely can. It has happened to me, not a lot, but I can think of maybe two times over the last 20 some odd years of I've had to do that. Um,
and you never
so
forget them. You never forget it.
oh, correct. I think about them every time I drive past their house.
Yeah,
And I hope they're well, and maybe they found somebody that's better suited for them, and it's perfectly fine.
exactly.
Yeah. How has the AAAI ISMA conferences helped you in your education over the years?
It's a constant state of learning something new. There has not been a single convention or class that I have taken that I have not gleaned a little bit of information that, and I'm an avid reader. Obviously, we started a book club with our gym. I love podcasts. I love just education, period. I will constantly be a student of life. But yet, even with all of that, I still learn something new every time. And I also meet unique souls with really interesting backgrounds that have information that, or ideas that I never even thought. And those ideas will inspire different aspects that can be carried over into a gym or into any type of healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, we sometimes think about the conferences as just like education, but a lot of it is networking. You never know who you're going to meet. I've met people over the years at conferences, and I'm like, wow, that's great. We should stay in touch and maybe do business together in the future. But you just never know, who the universe is going to put in your path.
It's
So,
the truth. I love the path and I love the people that are placed there. They're always there to either teach you a lesson or to learn from you.
right.
So,
Yeah, I agree completely. What advice would you give somebody who's in the situation right now? They're maybe just getting certified, don't know what direction to take. Do you have any words of wisdom for that person who may be watching us right now?
my biggest thing is don't be afraid to over communicate with the client. Like, definitely start aiming to get your first client or your first few clients. Don't be afraid in that time period when you're gaining those clients to not be afraid to communicate with them. I'm new in my career. I'm learning. I'm not sure about that. Let me research that, and then we'll come back with a game plan, and I'll show you what I've found. But the biggest thing is to do it. I mean, look, we're in the business of movement. Well, movement comes in many different forms, right? It's not just a physical form. Sometimes it's an emotional investment. Sometimes it's a mental jump. That's literally the first step with personal training is you have to get over these hurdles that you have in your mind, that you're not good enough, that you're not educated enough, that there's not enough time, or whatever the reason is. You have to just put all of the excuses aside and just say, okay, I'm going to do this. I don't know everything about it, but I can show you X, Y, and Z, and then we're going to learn along the way.
It's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, I think people are going to get a lot out of that because when they are first into personal training, they're certified, but they are not quite sure how to do things. And you're right. I think a lot of people do suffer from the imposter syndrome. Why me? And I think I've met people who have been training for years who I think still suffer from the imposter syndrome as well, and they're very very intelligent. So you're right. Just do it. You're going to learn along the way. There's going to be some speed bumps, but eventually it's going to be smooth sailing.
It is part of the process. We cannot live a life without making a few mistakes here and there, as long as they're not detrimental to health or endangering in any way. If there's small mistakes, like maybe the way you phrased something, or the way you scheduled something, and it's not an appropriate time period. Anyway, whatever the mistake is, the point is to learn from the mistakes. Our bodies learn from different movements, from different ways of adjusting ourselves. Why wouldn't the mind?
Right.
Just
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, there's a quote that I always remember, and I don't even remember who said it. Experience is the fruit of the tree of errors,
Oh,
and
yes.
yes, and I've made my share of errors over the year over the years.
That's the whole point. I think that's the funnest part of aging. Like, I've made enough mistakes where I can literally tell you what not to do.
Yeah. Sarah, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today. And for everybody who's watching, if you're in the Woodbridge, Virginia area, stop into Method Gym and say hi to Sarah, and you're going to be wowed by their gym, because I know I was.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. This was awesome.
It really was. Thank you much.